baseline of what situational football is complementary football. And that's complementary from offense to defense to special teams and in that loop.
Yep.
I think people don't realize how important it is field position wise for a special teams thought process when you're approaching the game. You know what I mean? Like, and as you look at the yard lines, when you get the ball, when the offense possesses the ball, there's certain percentages that you can literally look up that will tell you what percentage you have to score a touchdown. And as you get closer to the end zone, obviously they're going to go closer to 100. But once you hit the 50-yard line, it's like a 57% chance that you're going to score a touchdown.
Right.
And in football odds, 57% is extremely high. And you're playing with house money almost at that point. You know what I mean? But I mean, I think situationally and understanding situational awareness is so important because if you don't, then that can cost you the game.
What is going on? This is Breakin House Rules. We got Cam, we got Vaughn, we got Dre.
Yep.
We're coming off the bye week, and I think it was a pretty good situation, as on the Fin side of things. Bills lost two in a row. Jets lost 2 in a row. Played Monday night. Jets lost again, so that's 3 in a row now. And we're sitting in second place in the division. So as a Fins fan, feeling pretty decent about things considering the way the last few things have kind of gone for us.
I feel like you're the optimistic side of the Dolphins fan.
I feel great.
I feel like when I'm on Twitter, it's like the panic.
Love this guy.
But Dre, I think that the happiness of like hope, the future.
I feel awesome.
Coming off of a dub,
yeah, exactly. Coming off a dub it's a close dub, but it's a dub at the end of the day. I see a W at the end of the week. Happy as can be, and we got the Colts this week, so I don't know. I think we're in a good place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were vibes? I'm curious. What did the vibe switch maybe after the win? Like, in the locker room, is there any relief? Is there any like, man, we finally like?
Yeah, I mean, you after a losing streak, you're kind of like, okay, let's just get one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the mindset. So after the dub, it was like, everybody was like, all right, guys, like that felt good. It was a good win. It was it was what we needed, and it was hard fought. I mean, the Patriots are a good team, so that they had put us in a couple of situations that we needed to take advantage of, and their special teams is like very good. Brandon Schooler is a hell of a player. He just got extended. Shout out to Brandon, that's my guy. But yeah, man. So they took advantage of some opportunities, but we came out with the dub at the end.
Yeah,
it was close, but we came out with the dub.
Shout out to Jalen Polk's Hill.
Shout out to Jalen Polk and all those guys. But we needed the dub. We got the dub, and on to next week. Just kind of count that one as a swing upward. That was like the on the way up mindset. So going into this week, everybody's positive, trusting the game plan, ready to just kind of lock in. And so we had a little bonus day. Coming off of a bye, you don't really have any film to review or anything like that. So kind of just take an extra day to really lock in on fundamentals, techniques, whatnot, game plan, and going into Wednesday, I think everybody feels really good, and I'm confident to see how the guys feel.
So I'm curious. We always hear like the bye week adjustments. Is that a real thing? Like how much do you adjust over the bye or change where you are?
I think the bye week just gives time to really scout like you would scout another team, just because of how much time you have.
Yep.
Because usually you play a game, whether it's good or bad. Say it's a terrible game, right? You got Monday to review the film and make adjustments, but you also got Monday to start prepping the other teams. And a lot of coaches like do it in advance. They do a lot of prepping in advance so that they're not like backed up, or they're more so ahead. But I mean, from Monday night, Tuesday all day, and then now Wednesday, they've got to prep, a bunch of cut-ups and they've got to watch the tape and see, what are the, 10 things that we can gather from this team that, as DBs, because obviously speaking personally, as DBs, we can take advantage of. And, each person in the DB room doesn't need to know all 17 things that they can get. They just need to know one. And then with, the amount of people that we have, if everybody knows one thing, then we'll have, 11 plays to be able to take advantage of the team. So it's not that much time to really self-scout and to really sit down and lock in on what's being taught, what has been taught, what's being learned, how it's being applied, how we're working together as a team, as a unit, as a position group. And so bye week really does give space for you to just really look at the fine details.
Got you.
Yeah.
Is there like one thing maybe that you felt like coming out of bye week, hey, I feel better about this now?
Well, for my bye week, I mean, I was really focused on my hand most of the time.
Yeah.
I guess it feels better than a week ago.
But I will say, coming out of the bye week, going into the bye week for the Patriots game, I was really working on like taking space and tackling. That was the big thing I really wanted to work on. I didn't really play that much in the preseason. I was dealing with an ankle, here and there. So, really trying to feel that feeling again of just like, take space.
Yep.
And so I really worked on that during the week, and it showed up a couple times, and I was able to make some good tackles. So I'm confident about that, confident that my game's on the way up, as it always is. The first couple of games under your belt, you're starting to get your feet, cemented in the ground and, not moving too much left and right. So I'm feeling pretty solid, honestly.
Tackling is interesting because, like, if you watch across the league, I think that's been a thing where missed tackle rates are maybe the highest it's been in a while. So I'm curious as a defender, like obviously less practice time as a whole, but
yeah,
tackling, the evolution of that, like it seems also something like it's hard to learn in season or get better at. Like, how do you look at maybe the tackling or missed tackling kind of moments that we're looking at across the league, not just, with Miami?
Yeah, I'd say tackling is now like an art, because before, guys used to be, I feel like before you could just run and hit, you know what I mean? But now you really have to know how to tackle, and you can't get better at tackling without doing it.
Right.
So like you said, the lack of, not lack of, but as they start to, retract the amount of practices and retract the amount of live reps and stuff like that during the off season and training camp to, lengthen our careers and try to really look after our bodies, tackling becomes kind of, is a muscle that you don't use a lot more.
Right.
So it starts to dwindle a little bit. And in the season is when you start to use it the most. So you start to, get better as the season goes on. By the end of the season, missed tackles are kind of frowned upon by the, game 17, 18, because you've been tackling all year. There's always, missed tackles earlier in the year because everybody's just trying to figure it out. It's kind of a thing. It's been a thing since I was a rookie. But yeah, as things start to retract, tackling kind of dies down. But as the season progresses, then it starts to get better.
For sure.
Yeah.
When I was playing, we had the Oklahoma drill. I think it's banned these days.
Yeah.
But like, I always wonder if you have a bad tackling week, coaches can't be like, "Hey, bro, get down, strap up. We doing Oklahoma drill."
Yeah, you can't. It's really not grown men. They like, bro, I'm not finna do that.
Yeah.
But then, bro, I remember we used to do Oklahoma drill. I used to play running back. I was like, I used to try to just shake everybody. I was not trying to hit no.
I hear you, bro. People start counting the lines like, all right.
Oh, me.
I know he the big
I'm like,
bro, I used
shit.
to, when I played Pop Warner, bro, I was tiny, dude. All my life I was tiny as shit.
Yeah.
I didn't break 100 pounds till like my sophomore year of high school. Like I was a jit, bro.
Jesus.
And I was playing.
Eat a sandwich,
bro. Dude, I tried, bro. My parents should have put me on that hormone shit like back in the day. Like I actually.
Talking about HGH,
like, bro. Yeah.
Human growth hormones.
Yeah,
give
bro,
some steroids.
Like, damn, I'm not 100 pounds, mom. Put me on steroids. Like,
guy,
that's crazy.
I was legit 70 pounds lighter than everyone that I played in Pop Warner. Like I was fucking tiny. Like I should have probably been in like a different division, but because of my age, like that's where I was.
Right.
And I remember doing that, bro. I'm like, motherfucker, I'm going against the biggest motherfucker on the team, bro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna die.
And then all of a sudden something happened, the coach be like, "Hey, nah, you with him."
Now the worst is when you go and you like have a solid rep and it's like nothing bad happens, nothing good happens. You kind of just like make the tackle hit. You're like, okay, that wasn't that bad. And you're like, no, run it again.
Like,
you gotta strap it back up. You're like, matter of fact, bring it in closer. So now you really can't run. Nah, that was the worst.
That's hilarious.
That was the worst.
So obviously for the Finns, a lot of the conversation has been about getting through this period without Tua. And so Mike McDaniel came out this past week and said that Tua is going to play in 2024. I know for a lot of people it was still a question, would he retire, whatnot. He's been very clear that he wants to play football. And so he's not eligible to play this week against the Colts. Sounds like it'll be Snoop Huntley again. But he's able to play this year, and the earliest he's able to return is next week against the Arizona Cardinals. We don't know if he'll be back for sure that week, but that's the earliest he could be back. I'm curious, just for you guys, when you start to hear that and potentially start to think about getting QB1 back, what comes into your mind?
Hyped, that's for sure. I mean, that's QB1, so obviously that's the guy you want on the field at all times. And we said it going into the stretch that was probably the earliest that he would come back and should come back, based off all the news that we were hearing. And we said if we can get 2-2 during that stretch of the 4 games, you're not in a terrible spot. And then you see kind of everything else that's happened across the conference and in the division. You're like, shit, if we could sit at 3-3, Tua comes back, Arizona's hypothetically a winnable game at home. You're like, all right, season's not over, right? Like how everyone was saying after that Buffalo game. Everyone's like, season's over, blow it up, right? And it's like, here we are, and we're actually not in a bad situation when you look at the record and you look at the standings and you get your quarterback back. So obviously a ton of optimism, a ton of excitement. The offense obviously has struggled the last couple of weeks, and I don't really think there's really anyone to blame. I think that's going to happen across any offense that loses their starting quarterback. But you bring him back and you think, okay, we're back. Like we're team's here. You got Odell coming back, from being hurt in the beginning of the year. So there's pieces to all of this puzzle that you're like, all right, maybe we're in a good spot and we're ready for the second half of the season. So I think a ton of hype and excitement for sure.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think Tua coming back is going to be definitely great. I'm excited. I mean, he's our starting quarterback. He's our franchise quarterback. So having him back is definitely going to be great for not only, the team success and whatnot, but team morale.
Yeah.
Having him out there for himself. I know that he's itching to get back and really wanting to, I wouldn't say silence the haters because he doesn't really have a lot of haters. It's hard to hate on Tua. He's a great guy.
He is.
You know what I mean? And all he wants to do is play football.
Got haters, though.
So yeah, he definitely has haters. But yeah, man, I'm just excited to have him back, just to see him back out there enjoying himself again. Really.
Oh yeah.
But, yeah.
What has it been like for him? Like obviously you see him around the building, but like it's this weird period where like you're on the team, but you're not with us in the period. Like I'm curious what your interactions with him have been like, and what does that feel like?
Yeah, I think for anybody that's injured, you're kind of like in the penalty box. You know what I mean? Like for lack of better terms, you're with us, but you're not there. You know what I mean? So it's difficult to have like a super loud voice on team morale and trying to hype guys up for the game or anything like that. Like a quarterback would.
Yep.
Because he's not playing, so he kind of has to just stay reserved, and if things are going wrong, he has to comment amongst what's going on the offense and whatnot. So it's a difficult place to be in, and it's a difficult place to talk about because it's kind of a feel thing. You know what I mean? Like you almost feel like ostracized.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I know that's difficult because I've been in that position. So I can only imagine, how he's feeling as like, head guy as the starting quarterback. But I know with the amount that he's feeling with that, it just adds to the amount of how much he wants to come back. And so I know that for sure he's excited to get back. Whenever he does get back, we're super juiced to have him. And I just been telling him every day, I'm like, bro, hey, whenever you're ready, bro, like we are ready for you to come back for real.
Yeah.
Like, so
and it's been, as of this week, 5 weeks since he's been gone.
Right.
If he does indeed come back for the Cardinals game, it'll be 6 weeks removed from the concussion. So I already know the reaction from a lot of people is going to be what it was when he first, like he shouldn't play, like, take him off the field, that sort of stuff.
Right.
And he'll have to channel his way of channeling that out. But I think we've talked about this before. I hope that when he's back, he can play with the same level of confidence or lack of fear from, the unknown. Any type of concussions can certainly happen, but time often removes the risk of future concussions.
Right.
And so that's my hope for him. We'll see what it comes back to, but I hope that people understand that he was able to make his choice in his own time and his own space, and he wants to play football. So,
I don't even think he's going to even think about it while playing. I think once he's in the position, like he's actively running, like it's a pass play, he's actively running, that's when it'll pop in his head. And it'll be a slide.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or it'll be like run out of bounds kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to affect him like he's going to be timid in the pocket or anything.
Yeah.
That's not going to change because he's going to be playing football. He's going to be focused on how to, advance the ball forward or score touchdowns. So I don't think it's going to affect him in any way other than him just, having just a little bit more, just being a little bit extra cautious. That's basically it.
I think it's more like the emotional side of him as a person, right? You could tell. I obviously don't know Tua personally, but you could just tell in his demeanor and just the way he's on the field and the way he's carried himself over the last, couple years being in the league with everything that's happened on media narrative, coaching problems, you name it, right? Like everything he's found, and it feels like he's found an identity in himself.
Yep.
And when you look at what happened in that Buffalo game, that seemed to be more of like an emotional play that he made. You're losing by, double digits at that point.
No doubt.
He was pissed, you
Yep,
know?
yep.
And that's the Tua competitor in him, and that he was like, fuck it, bro. Like, yeah, I knew I had the first down, but you know what? I'm going to try to run over DeMar Hamlin because in his mind, he's like, I can, And it was just obviously an unfortunate break, and obviously it didn't pan out to be that way. But like to your point, I don't really see how Tua is going to really think about that, because I don't think he has that in his DNA. He's going to go out there to ball because he knows that's who he is.
Yeah,
Just
I
balls
think.
to the wall.
Yeah, I'm with Vaughn. I just hope that like you said, in his mind, it just kind of creates I'm not a run a guy over guy anymore, and that's fine.
Which is
that's
fair.
Just not
Yeah.
my game.
Mhm.
I'll slide when I'm in the open field,
Mhm.
and he knows how to slide. He slid several times. Like you said, it's probably in a moment of I got to get the first down for my team, and just at this stage, that's just not how you can help your team anymore.
Yeah.
which is perfectly fine. And also, from what I understand, his symptoms weren't as bad as previous concussions, and so he's in a better space, like health-wise, than he had been 2 years ago. So that can always help you as you return, of saying, hey, I can go back and be myself, because the journey back wasn't as much. Even though the volume for people outside the building is more,
Right.
the journey for him was a little bit more difficult in previous concussions, from what I understand. So
Right. I mean, personally, I still think that he can help the team while running the ball.
I agree.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you had said, I don't think he can help the team in that way anymore. I think that is the right idea. I think that the right term would be like, I think there's other ways while running to help the team in a better way than just like running somebody over. You know what I mean?
So talk about that then.
Because I feel like say he did the same move, same running pattern, everything. He's getting right before contact with DeMar Hamlin, and he does a spin move and falls forward. You know what I'm saying? Instead of running him over, he just spins, or he jukes him. You know what I'm saying? So same move, same thought process. Like, I got to get this first down.
Yep.
I got to get extra yards to motivate the team. And then he shakes somebody, gets the first down and more, and gets up and is like, let's go. Up.
Yeah.
Same effect. You're just not physically doing the
Yeah.
more strenuous thing.
Okay.
You feel what I'm saying?
I do.
That was
Tua
my
had that
side.
in his bag?
Yeah, he got that in his bag.
Okay,
I feel like he got it in his bag.
Okay,
Now he got to go out there and prove himself.
Okay, all right.
But I feel like he got the shakes in
you
his
see
bag.
it more than
I've seen
me.
it.
No, I mean, he got to have it in his bag. Mike always talks about it. You know what I'm saying? Hard left to go left, hard right to go right.
Mhm.
He got to have it in his bag.
Okay,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? He got the
Okay.
tattoos, the swag, and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Hey,
It's
he
there.
dropped some pounds this all season
there.
for the
He got to
thought
shake
of being
somebody. You
mobile.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I definitely think he got it in his bag. I think that he's going to end up doing that more. But man, I think that he's in a great place, and he's going to affect the team. How he's going to affect
Absolutely. I can't wait for that. I want to see, like, personally, like you talked about before, Tua's a really good dude.
Yeah.
And so I want to see him back happy, smiling.
Yeah.
The guy that we see making plays. I want to see him do the little ice in the vein thing. He started to add a little bit his little celebrations,
Yeah.
as he's got more in his career, more comfortable. So I hope we get to see that version. And like you said, I think he will be.
Definitely.
One thing that I am curious about, and this may be less about Tua and more about the team. There's a lot of conversation going into the season about the Guardian caps. And I'm curious, just like, that'll come up with Tua again. I don't know what decision he's going to make in that regard, but what do you guys talk about in regards to that option? Obviously it's not as visually appealing, but like, how do you, like, did you think about it at all? Do you guys talk about that?
I mean, it was like a D-line lineman thing, and then it became a running back linebacker thing, and now the whole team has to use them. So for me personally, I don't like them, but I know what they do, and they do help people. I know Jabril Peppers had one, and he still got a concussion. So hopefully that it lessened the effects on him and what he went through. But yeah, man, I think it is like extra padding, and I think it's great that they have it as an option for guys to, hey, if you need this because you're feeling some type of way, or you feel like it'll give you an advantage and you won't, be in a situation or be in a compromising position, then 100% add it. But me personally, it just don't look right with the swag that I want to do.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna rock it.
I hear you.
But I love it though. Shout out to the NFL for putting that in for practice and whatnot, because I definitely think that it saved people from practice concussions, training camp concussions, because those things are real. Those things happen. So
For sure.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
There's a clip real quick before we get into the next one where you were on, I think you were on a pod, and you said that the script was that we were going to have a slow start to the year and that we were going to pick it up. The script seems pretty on right now.
We mentioned the script earlier, like it's part of the script. The hand was a part of the script. The slow start was part of the script.
Hey, man.
What's the rest of the script, man?
Like, man, I already gave you all the details of what's gonna happen. Don't call me crazy the first time I say it, but look, man, that's just what it is. Go watch the tape, bro. I already put it down on paper. That's why I'm not worried about none of this, man.
Yeah,
we're gonna come back stronger. Shout out fans. Shout out the Dolphins. Let's get it. So the transitioning though, I know you talked about happy times and whatnot.
Yeah.
Tell me about. I want to know. When you're in the car driving by yourself, I want to know your guilty pleasure genre of music, because I know everybody has one. That song or that genre of music that you turn on when you just want to feel good. So tell me what it is recently.
So usually my go-to is country reggae. Like that's usually what I'm bumping in the car pretty much all day. But I have a guilty pleasure, like off-brand, I guess you could say. I get into some Al Green and the Temptations. Like something about that vibe just puts me in a good place. It's windows down. I'm like, I feel like, I don't know, like like they say you have like a past self or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's an identity of me somewhere down the line. I don't know, maybe my grandpa listened to that back in the day, but that's where I go to when I want to change things up.
Okay, so what you think, like 1950s, like saxophone player in Chicago, like you just vibing?
Oh yeah.
Like all the yellow suit, 3-piece.
I was in the car with him.
That was very specific.
And
I can visualize it now. I can visualize you rocking the same.
I don't know what it is. I like the jazzy vibe. I like that kind of just the old school. I'm more of the old school than the new school.
Nice.
I love it. So for me, I got a daughter. She's 4. I'm normally like a hardcore hip hop guy, but she likes to listen to a lot of different music, and so I got on my shuffle like some Little Mermaid, and so like Under the Sea, I be hitting Sebastian's part hard.
Oh, no, I already know. I was gonna ask you.
Definitely Sebastian's part. So like when she in the car, we definitely sing together. But I will say, even when she's not in the car, I'm not skipping it. It's playing, so I'm listening to all the kids. And also, like I grew up in an era where like Neo and like all this like R&B, Mario.
Yep.
I will listen to like some R&B love songs, and be in my vibe there.
Okay,
so those are probably my two.
So with your daughter, like, do you watch the shows that she watches, and
I do.
They end up being catchy, like
a little bit. So like, there's some that are annoying, like I hear the Coco Melon theme song for like 2 seconds, and I'm like, turn it off. Where is it? But some of them like they hit a little bit where you like, okay, I'll vibe with it. Like she watches a lot of different shows. Like, so we've been putting her less on like the Coco Melon type shows and more about like the educational ones. It's like Gracie Corner is one show, like it's a black girl. And so it kind of gives her someone to emulate that looks like her. So they have music there that's pretty dope. And so I'll like sing some of those songs just naturally in my head as I'm going through the day, and I'm like, oh damn, we're not at home. So that definitely pops up for sure.
Nah, definitely. So recently, man, I can't remember what I was doing, but I think I was on Twitter, and they had posted like a clip of Linkin Park in the video of them, the in the end video, and I was listening to it. I'm like, man, they're really going crazy. So then I started looking at, all right, what's some of the popular like bands back in the day. I remember Nickelback and whatnot. So click on Nickelback, and I'm like scrolling through, get to Rockstar. I'm like, okay, they look slapping it. So then I added that to the playlist, and then Lips of an Angel was on a TikTok video. Like, I think it was like a clip of like somebody fighting, and like Superman or something fighting, and they had the Lips of the Angel video on there, song on there. So I added that. I've been banging those the last 2 days.
A vibe with it. I'm
not gonna lie, it's been a vibe.
So
I haven't found any more.
Game day too, or is it separate?
Nah, not game day. Like really, like get in the car and I'm driving, and I'm like just vibing. Like the Lips of an Angel. The reason I like the Lips of an Angel song is because like when he starts talking about shorty so apparently in the song he has a girlfriend, and the girl that he's talking to is like an old girlfriend that he never stopped loving. So when he's like singing about it, he's like, Lips of it, and he's really like, so I feel him. You know what I'm saying? I feel the pain and the love in his voice.
Torn,
you know what I'm saying? He's like, the lips of an angel. You feel me? So yeah. And then the Rockstar one just good vibes.
Rockstar is a good vibe.
Yeah.
I'm with it.
Can't ever go wrong.
Yes, sir.
I'm with it. I love it.
Facts.
I think for me, as I think about this week in life, I'm like, okay, what am I howling about? And whenever I talk about howling, I gotta, Again, that's something me and my daughter do. So I'm tapping into the dad vibes
Hell
here.
yeah.
But we last name Wolfe, and so I tap into the Holland with the Wolf. And so I'm hollering on two things this week. All right. One, football related. He's roughing the passer penalties, bro.
It's rough.
It's ridiculous. We were watching the Bills Jets game. There was a few of them. What are the defensive players gonna do? Like the body weight rule? Like, come on, man. Like, what are they? I gotta turn this to you, Bob, because I see you look at
bro.
Like, what are we doing
It's a
here?
tackle, bro. Like he got the ball. I'm going to sack him. It's a tackle. What you want me to do?
Hey,
You want me to
it's
like
insane.
try to and then pull off it? Like, come on, bro.
Somebody did that in one of the games.
I think it was an Epinesa last game.
Yeah,
or so,
yeah.
like yesterday, right?
It was one. I think it was the game last night. He wraps him up and then kind of just lets him go, and then the play keeps going on, and you could tell that he just didn't want to get the penalty.
Exactly. And Mahomes has got really good about this. Shout out Pat Mahomes, but Mahomes has got really good on like being along the sidelines,
bro,
and like faking like you're going out.
Because they'll still call a flag on that. They're like, oh, he was gonna give himself up and go down.
But they'll tight rope
for like 4 more yards, bro.
First down.
4th and 4 and first down is two different things, bro.
You're seeing a ton of that.
And I get it, man. I love seeing the star quarterbacks in the game. Like, you want Tua back, you want your Josh Allen's, your Pat Mahomes. But come on, man, you got to get a defensive player a shot.
Like, it's football, bro. Like, it's hard to be a defensive player in the league now because there's so many rules and so many things that you can't, like, just giving something like the hip drop tackle, like giving it a name. Now everybody's looking for it, and but you see it doesn't get called that much because it doesn't really happen that much.
No.
You know what I mean? So it's frustrating being like trying to take advantage of the small margin that we have, but like it's difficult to be a defender. But on the other side, like as an offensive player, as a quarterback, I'm definitely taking advantage of the sideline, like tight roping, because I mean you get first downs versus being punt. So yeah, it's frustrating for sure.
The game moves so fast too. Like it's not just a roughing the passer penalty. That's the one that frustrates me the most.
Right.
Because like you got a sack. Like this is a premium play on defense, and it's an automatic first down the other way and 15 yards to negate it. But like the hit across the middle, like I get it. There's a lot of danger in the sport, but like it's moving so fast. The game's moving so fast. A receiver catches it, ducks a little bit, and all of a sudden his duck is the difference between hitting you in the shoulder and the chest.
Yeah.
I get it. Intent is not the reality, but like, come on.
That's frustrating as a DB, especially as a safety, because when you're going to make a tackle and you have, like, I mean, we're 12 inches from each other. That's a split second, and he decides to duck his head down. I'm going to hit the strike zone, and then he drops down and goes like this. Now he's compromising himself.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm trying to protect myself, but also protect him while I'm hitting him. So how am I supposed to protect him when he doesn't even want to protect himself and he drops his head?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it puts us in a terrible position because we're also going to danger ourselves. I remember I hit Brandon Cooks when he was on the Texans my second year. And I was coming out of the post. He had caught like an over route and turned around. And as soon as I was going to hit him, he dropped his head like this. And I ended up hitting shoulder right on top of his head. And I felt him like shoot back. And I was like, I got up because I was, obviously when my shoulders go down, my eyes go down a little bit. But when I went to hit him, I kind of lost the vision of him a little bit. And I looked at replay and it was clear my shoulder, like I hit him right on the head. And they threw a flag, but they ended up picking it up.
Mm-hmm.
But just the fact that they threw the flag and them not being able to recognize, like, he put himself in that position, how am I supposed to not hit him in any way that's legal when he is compromising himself? Like, there's no way I can work around that.
Yeah.
There's not.
And in real time, it's pretty much impossible to stop yourself from that hit.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So NFL, give defensive players a shot.
Right. I will say the one that I did never like was when running backs would like run with the ball and then they would like duck their head to hit you. Because it's like, all right, I'm trying to
crown of the helmet.
Exactly. And he could just use his head as a battering ram.
Right.
But I have seen the league like start to find guys quite a hefty amount, which like damn.
Yeah.
It's a lot of bread that they're finding.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
It sucks that they're losing the bread. I like the rule of them like enforcing it, but damn. Like,
like that's a lot.
I never want to see somebody lose that much money.
Right.
That's a lot of bread that they're losing. So
for sure.
It's a give and take, man. It's a give and take.
Second topic for me. So this past week, before the bye, I came back from Atlanta game. And I like to cut it close at the airport, bro. I'm not gonna lie. That's the way I live.
No, I can't.
I know. I'm getting the groans, but I got TSA pre-check. I'm probably showing up to the gate like with an hour, maybe 45 minutes to spare.
You're crazy.
And so Atlanta's not the airport to do this with.
No.
So I actually thought I
crazy.
was on time, but I had a rental car that I had to return.
You're crazy.
And then I had to get to the gate. Bro, I had to sprint. And I'm usually not a runner at the airport.
Nope.
This is probably only the second time in my life I had to run. But it was the only flight that was gonna get back home. It was a Friday night. I'm like, I'm not about to stay in town. And so I sprinted. Like, I don't know what my 40 time is. Probably slower than I think it is. But I felt like I was at the peak.
You was
of
moving
whatever
though.
that time is. It might have been
Moving
5 flat. It might have been 5.2.
Yeah.
Whatever it was. But I was moving. I was cutting. And I felt ashamed of myself, but I made it. I made it.
Nah, that's actually crazy. Because me personally, like when I start looking at my flight for the airport, I'm there an hour before boarding.
Oh, wow.
I'm there an
me
hour
too.
before boarding.
What do you do with all that time?
Bro.
Look, this is what
I enjoy the hell out of it. I go to the lounge.
exactly, man. I got the
chilling.
American Express lounge. I'm
Yeah,
chilling, Chase Bank, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I go get food before I get to the airport because Lord knows the airport's charging.
Yep.
Subway sandwich like foot long. It was just like $12.
$20,
$12.
yeah.
At the airport, that'd be like $25. They charging. They going crazy.
Yeah.
No, but
So
the lounge, you get food, you get drinks.
the lounge is
you
free.
chill. It's
Exactly.
nice.
So if I know that I got like a Delta flight, I'll go in the lounge. I'm cooling.
Yeah.
Just eat, chill. But an hour before boarding, got to do that. If I got a rental car, I'll set it for like 2 hours so that I know that I got time to park the car, make sure the car's returned, walk to where I need to be. The only time that I had ever literally ran to the gate was, I think I was in I was in Portland, I think. And I was with my girlfriend. And I had TSA pre-check. She had clear, but the clear line was taking hella long.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went, I was already through, and I was waiting for her to come through, and it was taking like forever. So I ran. I didn't run, but I was like speed walking to the gate. Get to the gate, and the lady's like, "Hey, okay, like, thank you for going by." I'm like, "I'm waiting for my girlfriend." She's like, "I have her boarding pass too," and she's like, "Okay, like 15 minutes before the plane leaves off, we have to close it." I'm like, "All right." So 25 minutes. All right, cool. I'm like, "Babe, where are you?" She's like, "Oh, I'm coming through the gate." I'm like, "All right, 20 minutes go by." Babe, where are you? She's like, "Fuck." 12 minutes. Like, we cut it close.
Yeah.
She running. We get to the plane. We get in the flight. She's sitting down. She starts talking. I'm like, "Are you good?" She's like, "I have asthma." I'm like, "You have asthma?" Because I know we should never have to run.
Right.
You're like, "You got asthma?" She's like, "Yeah." She starts like low-key wheezing. I start panicking. I'm like, "Where's your handler?" She's like, "I don't got it." I'm like, she's like, "I'm gonna be all right." I'm like, "All right." She just like, I just hear her like,
Oh, man.
it's like slowly breathing, and she was good after that. But I was worried.
Yeah.
I was worried.
I think we underestimate how little amount of time us regular folks run. Like, other than exercise, like I'll
Like
exercise,
real
like
full
running
speed
with
sprint.
luggage, like
You
running
got all
just
your shit on you.
regular clothes, just running.
Yeah.
Like, when's the last time you like full speed sprint?
Like not for workout,
Like,
just like
not
you
for
just literally full speed.
Probably an airport, honestly.
Like, imagine
Like,
that,
there's
bro.
never been like a dire moment where I felt like I needed to sprint. Probably one time, and it was the same situation. Girl was super late to the airport,
yeah,
and I'm like, "Bro, we got 10 minutes, and we're 40 gates away. Like, we gotta run."
Right.
yeah.
And then Miami, she's not keeping up with me, so
Yeah,
I'm like
right.
running, like, "Yo, let's go!"
Come on.
Right,
I'm
right,
grabbing
right.
her bag, and now I got 2 bags, and I'm like, "Yo," and we made it. But yeah, you're winded, you're out of breath, and I'm
Exactly.
like, "This is not worth it."
Not at all.
No.
Just get there early, bro.
Yeah.
All right, y'all
Like,
trying to
just get there
convince
early.
me. I'm trying to be better in life.
That's
But
one.
Just
that's
get
a
there
core
early.
thing
That's
that
one
I've
of my-
Because
always.
Lord forbid you
Travel's
get there.
already stressful too.
Exactly. Get there like 45 minutes, right?
Yeah,
TSA is taking long as fuck. You like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get through.
yeah.
You get through, like 20 minutes left, you gotta sprint like down at least one terminal. You fuck around and pull your hamstring because you
Oh,
ain't
yeah,
you
that's
ain't
true.
sprinting
Bro,
like
that's
2 years.
embarrassing,
You know
bro.
what I mean?
Yeah,
Imagine
I'm
you just
Down on the floor.
You know how embarrassing that shit is?
I'm on the sideline. What happened? I
Oh,
pulled
my
my
hamstring.
hamstring.
They're like, bro,
Running
get to the
at
fucking
airport.
gate, bro. Like, what do you,
Yeah,
you know what I'm
nah.
And
saying?
that feel like an unathletic thing to do.
You 100
you know?
yards from the gate, you crawling, then
Yeah.
they're like, "Sir, the plane left 5 minutes ago."
Oh man, that's
Demoralizing, bro. That's demoralizing.
embarrassing. You know what wasn't demoralizing? Oregon football this week.
And I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up. Because I've been meaning to talk about that. First of all, shout out to all the Ohio State fans. I know we had said this previously, but y'all suck. And I don't got to say it again because y'all lost twice, back to back. I wasn't there. We was missing our number one pass rusher in both games. Kayvon was out this last game. Last time we played y'all. At y'all crib. And Branch was out this game. We left points on the board. I mean, at least like 17 points. The 2 missed field goals. We had an illegal man downfield where the ref thought the off the ball tight end was really the on the ball tight end that was covered up. That could have led to points. We didn't run the ball on 34th down on the goal line, basically, and we left points right there. And Dylan Gabriel missed tees on the flat route for another time we was in the red zone. That ended up being 3 points. So we got at least 14 to 17 points that we left on the board that y'all were lucky that we left on the board because it would have been a blown out and would have been embarrassing for the Ohio State University, not the University of Oregon.
I love the energy. Like I felt you were more passionate there than most things in life, you know?
I'm just happy that we got the dub, man. Oregon number 2. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
It's been a while.
Now, there's some trap games out there that we got to take care of, but
They took care of business against
I mean,
Ohio
what is it,
State.
12-team playoff now in
Yeah,
college
so you
football?
should be good.
Week 1
Like,
bye.
Yeah.
Come on now. I want to see Ohio State again.
So when I hear your emotion, it makes me wonder, like, what is it like in a locker room ahead of a big game week when you have a teammate? Like, I don't think you guys have anybody on the roster from Ohio State. I think Jerome was the one, like he's not there.
Yeah.
But like, what is that like? Take me into like maybe your biggest locker room rivalry.
So my biggest locker room rivalry that I've had so far was with Eric Rowe because he went to Utah.
Yep.
So when the Pac-12 was still the Pac-12, it was Oregon and Utah that were like butting heads a lot. Washington too, and Miles and Savon, but we always beat up on Washington, so we ain't worried about them.
Yeah.
So it was Utah and Oregon. So 2 years ago, they were in the Pac-12 championship, and they had seen each other at least twice. And me and Rowe like bet on it. Like whoever loses got to wear like full of the other team's college gear. And I was locked into the game, and so I was talking shit to Rowe all week long. Like as soon as the game ended, I think we played like Utah State or something. We got the Utah week. I'm talking shit all week.
Yep.
We gonna whoop y'all, my boy, because my homeboy was on the team. It was Rome was on the team. AB was on the team. Nick, Steve, like all the homies from the crib. So I'm talking mad shit. Soon as the game get to halftime, I'm like, hey, bro, you got halftime buyout? Like, we was getting blown out, bro. Like, we was getting whooped on. Utah was handling us. So that was like the most depressing, college rivalry.
He was talking crazy.
He was talking shit too. He was, is this is the best y'all got? This is what Oregon produces? I was sick.
And you got to sit in that. Like,
you got to eat it.
Take it.
You got to take it, bro.
Yeah,
sucks.
It's rough.
It absolutely sucks.
But I know you wanted to talk a little bit about that game. You know, I know a lot of times us in the media or us and fans, all of us, we try to figure out how we legislate the game. What wins? You know, you score 40 points, you make turnovers. What's the biggest key for you that you really wanted to?
So I really wanted to dive into situational football. I think bottom line of the baseline of what situational football is complementary football. And that's complementary from offense to defense to special teams and in that loop.
Yep.
I think people don't realize how important it is field position wise for a special teams thought process when you're approaching the game. You know what I mean? Like, for example, say you get a team, starting first kickoff, they get the ball at the 20-yard line, whatever, they fair catch, 25-yard line. And as an offense, you could drive down to a certain yard line, kick a field goal, and then you restart. They get the ball at their 25. But if you don't get to a certain yard line, you have to punt. Right, and you end up pinning that offense, the opposing offense, into the 5-yard mark or lower into their yard line. Now you're setting yourself up for half field almost. Say your defense gets a 3 and out, and they have to punt from their 10. You get the ball in your 40, and you're only dealing with 60 yards now. So you've basically bumped yourself a 20-yard buffer to make plays. And as you look at the yard lines, when you get the ball, when the offense possesses the ball, there's certain percentages that you can literally look up that will tell you what percentage you have to score a touchdown. And as you get closer to the end zone, obviously they're going to go closer to 100. But once you hit the 50-yard line, it's like a 57% chance that you're going to score a touchdown. Right. And in football odds, 57% is extremely high. And you're playing with house money almost at that point. You know what I mean? So in the Oregon game, for the Oregon situation, it was a couple seconds left, right? It was like 22, something like that, seconds left, and Oregon had Ohio State had gotten offensive pass interference, right? And it was debated on Twitter whether it was really pass interference or not. Me personally, I don't think it was pass interference. Receiver and the DB both have a right to their own space. The DB engaged first, and they were within a certain yard line, and the receiver just removed his hands from him and ran the comeback. Be that as it may, it was still in our favor. So they had a penalty. So I think it was second down and 25, and Dan Lanning decided to put 12 men on the field. The clock was stopped. I think there was 10 seconds left. before they had gone to that play, and this is before the snap of the ball on the pass interference, they were just letting the clock run because, once they got set up, it was umpire alert, which basically means as soon as the umpire moves from the line of scrimmage, because he'll stand there and allow everybody to sub, he'll back up, but the clock starts running once he waves his hand. As soon as he backs up, the clock starts running, right? And in doing that, Will Howard was basically letting time run off the clock unknowingly almost, right? So from 22 seconds to 10 seconds at the start of the next play, usually plays are only 7 seconds at the longest. So he burned time at that point. Say he burned 5 seconds, right? So because he did that, he lost time that he could use on the back end. So now they get into the pass interference, they get back to third down and 25, right? Then Oregon, and the clock is stopped, it's 10 seconds left. They snap the play. Oregon has 12 men on the field, right? It looks like they don't mean to, but you see them push somebody on the field.
They do.
And
when
while
you see it
I'm
after.
watching, exactly. Yeah. While I'm watching the game, I'm counting. I'm counting out that they have 12 men on the field. And if I was on Instagram Live and I had said that. So the play happens, it's incomplete, but there's a penalty flag. There's 12 men on the field. And so it's only a 5-yard penalty, right? 5-yard, instead of being fourth down and whatever with however many time, they had 10 seconds back on the clock. They had put the 10 seconds back on. It ran to 6. So it's now third down and 20 because it was only a 5-yard penalty. And as soon as everybody's set, clock starts. So clock starts. He snaps the ball. Once he snaps the ball, he's thinking that because they had a timeout, he's thinking that he can get a certain yard line slide to call timeout. Well, Howard just didn't pay attention to the time clock.
Yeah.
I don't know if he thought that he had more time than he didn't, but imagine if he didn't let the time run when it was that, when it was first down. And they had that before the snap of the pass interference. He had like 14 seconds left. So as time runs off, he's running and he's literally not paying attention. He tries to get down and slide, but he's sliding. It's only 2 seconds left. So paying attention to the play clock and paying attention to how much time is left is so important because with 6 seconds left, he could have easily gotten the ball, look, no one's open, throw it down the bounds, then they kick a long field goal. You know what I mean? And at least have an opportunity to win the game.
Give yourself a chance, yeah.
But they didn't even have that. I mean, they had a timeout. You know what I mean? It could have been out of bounds or timeout or incomplete. But, I mean, I think situationally and understanding situational awareness is so important because if you don't, then that can cost you the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's very tragic. I had just seen that Dan Lanning came out, head coach for the University of Oregon. I came out and said that he on purpose put 12 men on the field, and that there was like some loophole or whatnot in the rules of the NCAA, and now they're investigating it. Which I get why they're investigating it because they don't want it to be anything that somebody can take advantage of constantly. But 9 times out of 10, you just got to chalk it up to him being situational genius and let the rules be the rules.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I think that's where coaching comes in. Like, I think he had also said they have prepped a lot of these different situations, right? Yeah. If you're ready for the moment, you don't have to get ready. Like, you don't have to figure it out on the fly.
Exactly.
Like, this is what we do in this particular situation.
Yeah.
And your players are on the same page, too. So they know how to react quickly, too.
Yeah.
You know how players like, wait, 12 on the field, what are we doing? Panicking?
Exactly.
They just play defense.
No doubt. I think, I don't know if it was on the last podcast or, we were just talking about it offline, but we had talked about the Hail Mary last night or a couple nights ago with the Jets and how they had a guy, they had like basically outside line. They rushed 2, had outside backers on the sideline. That could be great. I think we did talk about it, but that could be great in case they run out routes or, in case they try to run anything to the sideline where those guys can basically either dislodge the ball from the player, intercept it and get down, or just, deter the quarterback from throwing it over there. So there's so many situations in football that people don't realize. And a lot of the times, coaches that focus and harp on those situations, when the time comes, you usually see those teams are super efficient in those fields. That's why, from my experience being under a Patriot system, I know Belichick is like really big on situation, and you always wonder why people would say like, don't give Tom Brady, a minute 30 to win a game. It's because they probably practiced that nonstop because they knew that a lot of games would really come down to those last 2 minutes, and you have to get on the field. And whether it's your defense or your offense, whether it's defense, then they got to get a stop because you have timeouts and your offense has an opportunity to get the ball back, or it's your offense and you're down, a couple points. You got to either get a field goal or you got to get a touchdown, and you have to drive down the field effectively with overs, in cuts, and seams because that's how chunk plays happen. Overs, in cuts, and seams in a catch on 9 ball, and you got to make, you got to put yourself in a position to win the game. So if you emphasize those points and you see teams that are really efficient with those, then you'll recognize that that's something that they highlight.
Got you.
Yeah.
Last one for me on this topic. Is there a play that you can recall since you've been a Dolphin where you felt like perfectly describes like situational football, like something that whether you executed it or your teammate executed that you felt like that was it?
That's a great question. I mean, damn, was there a time where we like laid on? Okay, I mean, even last game,
Yeah.
right? So last game they needed to get the ball out of bounds,
Mm-hmm.
right?
True,
And
yeah.
because there was only a couple seconds left,
Yeah.
I think Hunter Henry
Yeah,
caught
it's
that.
actually perfect.
Hunter Henry caught that last
situation.
pass, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And so there was about 4 seconds when he caught it, and then
Mhm.
they didn't have time to clock it.
Yeah.
So they needed to get out of bounds. I can't remember what route it was, but Nick was the deep player. Nick Needham was the deep player in the field, and it was Darius Douglas, number 3.
Demario Douglas.
Demario
Pop
Douglas.
Douglas. Yep.
He ran I think it was like an over route or an out route, but he ended up popping out free,
Yep.
right? And Nick drove on that route because he saw that was the closest, that was the most opportunity that the quarterback was going to get the ball out of bounds, but
Okay.
down the field at the same time.
Yep.
Because if he would have caught that and got out of bounds, I mean, that was at least,
They
7
had
seconds.
time after the reception. Yeah.
They had time. So if he caught that, got out of bounds, it would have been like 8 seconds left on the clock.
Yep.
But because he didn't and he padded it, then he looked at Hunter Henry, threw it the same kind of route. I think they might have ran 777, which is a low 7, a medium, and a deep one. And so Hunter Henry ended up catching it, but we tackled him in bounds. 4 seconds left. They have no timeouts. Clock runs out.
Yep.
So I think that's a perfect
That is
example.
a perfect.
It is perfect. And
Yeah.
and as you say that, like there's always a certain amount of time the offense knows that they have
Mhm.
that they can catch the ball in bounds and get up and clock it.
13.
And so yeah, 13
seconds.
I was
yeah.
at the Falcons game when Kirk Cousins did it, and he had it, and he actually did it like an 11 or 12.
Mhm.
And they were talking after the game, that's the fastest anybody did it.
Yeah.
And they had practiced it. So the OC said, instead of throwing to the sidelines, I'm gonna throw it quick over the middle.
Crazy.
And Kirk got up there, do it
You
with
gotta
1
get
second to
there.
go. But you
Yeah.
gotta know that's knowing your situational football
Yeah.
and what you're good at.
Yeah,
you know?
I think the highlight for that definitely, especially like throws inside the numbers.
Yep.
You gotta hand the ball to the ref as a receiver. Like that's a highlight point for them, is that they have to give the ball to the ref so that the ref can down it. Because
True.
if you put the ball down
Exactly.
where you're
wasting
tackled,
more time because
the ref's gonna run
over.
over. He's gonna move it, and then like he can move it back, and then now
Yeah,
your whole
true.
line has to shift back. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think I had seen a clip when I think it was like somebody on the Steelers like 3 years ago. They had caught the ball and they like did it like a celebration or something. I think it might have been Chase Claypool.
Yep.
And he did the celebration, right? And people highlighted that he did the celebration and that was like a problem.
Mhm.
But in fact, it was just the fact that
He saw the ball. Yeah.
no, he was going to hand the ball to the ref.
Oh.
The offensive lineman, the center, ran up to him and tried to snatch the ball and ended up knocking it away.
Oh my
Gotcha.
God.
So the ball got knocked away, and then the ref had to go get it, pick it up, put it down. They ended up clocking it, but they wasted like 5-6 seconds.
Gotcha.
And after, Chase Claypool was like livid. You see him like yelling after that.
Right.
And rightfully so, because even though he did the celebration, the ref was still running over to him. He was going to hand him the ball.
Mhm.
If everybody just remained calm, then maybe they wouldn't have knocked the ball to the guy's hand. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
there's a bunch of situations, but it's like really you got to just stick to what you know, remain calm, and trust that you've practiced this situation over and over again. You can just rely on what you guys practice.
Yeah.
True
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
Situational football is king.
King,
yeah.
bro. It's
Yeah.
king.
Well, this has been a great episode, fellas. I think as we kind of wrap this up, I know Dre, you like to leave the
Yeah.
audience with a word.
I'll leave a
Oh.
quick tranquilo thought. It was actually something I posted today. It's a quote from Bruce Lee, "Be like water," right? And the concept of that is that water's formless, right? It'll take shape in anything you put it in. So if you put it in a coffee mug or you put it in a water bottle, it's going to take the shape of whatever you put it in, right? And I think that's kind of like what you were talking about when you were talking about your hand and things like that, right? It's what we put inside of us, right? It's the thoughts that we have and the way that we kind of feed our mind is what's going to take shape in our life. So the more that we can be water and be more in agreement, right, and accepting of what comes in our life,
No doubt.
the rest of things are going to kind of take care of itself, and some things are just out of control. So I think the "be like water" quote from Bruce Lee is something that we can apply in our everyday life and just kind of go with the flows that life kind of throws our way sometimes.
Nice.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. Well, this was just a start for us.
Yes, sir.
This is the start of
Good
Breaking
times.
House Rules, and continue on with us on this journey. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Yes, sir.